First of all, I'm so happy to be with you.
Thank you. Back at you.
You know when they say when someone enters a room, like their energy precedes them, like who they are, you do that. You walk in a room. So how are you feeling just on this random day? Just tell me how you are today.
I got a note from a soror sister friend, and she said, "You are the happiest person ever." And she sent along some pictures of me. And I said, "Actually, you are quite correct. Joy is my strong suit."
Joy?
Joy.
Joy is
my
your thing?
strong suit. Oh, God, yes. You know what I think about every time I wake up in the morning? I know for a fact millions didn't make it, but I am one of those that did. And on top of it, I woke up in my right mind. How about that?
Was joy always a part of you ever since you were younger?
I would have to say that I was built on joy because as a child of the 60s, you know, there were so many horrible things going on in the 60s, and your parents really had to fortify you with strength. They had to give you hope. They had to show you joy to let you know that, yes, there is a future, and yes, there is definitely something to live for, and you can be a part of what it is you want to see in the future.
Waterbury, Connecticut.
Waterbury, Connecticut.
Girl, you grew up there. Your
Yes.
mom, Jamaican immigrant.
That's right.
And a fashion influencer, designer.
That's
Your dad,
right.
a college professor.
Started out breaking the color barrier in the school system in Waterbury and being one of the very few male teachers in school.
So did that make you proud of your dad? What did you think?
I was always proud of my dad. First of all, my dad was always behind a piano. Music was always part of our home. Education was something to strive for, to get excellence, to be your best, to show up and know that when you showed up, it would be okay. You know, and you learn this as a child, to participate, to vote. My parents would always take me with them to vote, and my mother was so proud, always so proud to be able to vote. Oh, my gosh.
So your parents tell you one thing, you're amazing, watch us vote, we're strong, we're all these things. Society's giving you a different message.
They sure are.
They're giving you the opposite message. How did you not succumb to how society was describing you, telling you what you were, labeling you?
Because I believed my parents. I believed what my parents told me, and I had a passport. Having a passport gives me the world. I could travel. Maybe I was just traveling from the States to Jamaica, but you can't tell me that I can't be president, because I see the president, the prime minister is Black-ish. I see it. You can't tell me that it's not a doctor, a lawyer. First of all, my uncle is in school to become a dentist, and of course he did become a dentist, you know, so I'm seeing all these paths forward.
Right.
And I can see that it's also possible. So if you're trying to tell me it's not possible, you need a passport, you need to travel, and someone's giving you the wrong information.
Okay, that's confidence, especially for a kid. Because my mom was always like, you're beautiful, you're beautiful. I'm like, then how come when I go to junior high school with my stop sign glasses and craziness, not one person ever asks me to do anything with them? So sometimes my eyes went off of my parents, wondering, like, are they right? Is this going to work? But you always knew.
Because my mother would say, Sheryl, you don't see they don't have much intelligence. If they could tell you this, you have to know they don't have too much intelligence. And I believed my mother.
I love it. So
Yeah.
you are a performer. It doesn't matter. Whatever profession you might have chosen, deep down, performing was always your thing. Was there a moment in your life when you were young where you felt the bug? You felt the feeling of like, this is it. This is what I like.
My dad was always the musical director. If it was summer stock in Danbury or Fairfield, whatever, my dad was the musical director. And this one particular year, they were doing the Helen Keller story. And there is a role for two Black kids, a girl and a boy. But the boy has all the lines. And that was my brother Stanley. And every night when Stanley opened his mouth to say those lines, I would look at him and I was like, it should be me. It should be me. That's how I felt.
So you knew you wanted the light.
Mm-hmm. And there's a picture of me looking at him as if to say, why are you talking? It should be me.
Was there a moment, because part of the love of performing is often just how the audience responds.
Yes.
Do you remember the first time an audience, it could be your family, your church, anywhere, that they responded to you?
Independence Day in Jamaica. And my music teacher, my drama teacher, Miss Irene Whitaker, Pauline Brahma, we have our little dance. Long time gal, me never see you. Come make me hold your hand. And I got my dance, my little costume on. And the princess, I thought it was the queen, was coming through Mandeville. And I was so ready to see her and dance for the princess, for the queen. Honey, the queen was probably a mile or two away, and we're doing our little dance, but my teacher was right there, just clapping away. And I remember, oh my God, it just felt so good. And I've never forgotten that.
So when you know in your soul that that's something you want to do, there's nothing that can deter you. However, you do listen to your parents.
Yeah.
Your parents were practical.
Yeah.
They wanted you to do, like you said, there were doctors in your family, a dentist and this and that. They had a little mini plan for little Sheryl. What did they want you to do?
I think, it's the same for immigrants' children to this day.
Yes.
It's like you must be so much better than your parents. For me, I thought I could never be better than my parents. But for them, be a doctor, be a lawyer, and if you can't do that, then marry one. That was it. Every family had to have a doctor, you had to have a lawyer, and you had to have someone in the ministry.
So those were your 3 boxes. You had to.
That was it.
That was it.
I was going to be a great doctor.
So
no.
Were you good in school?
Great.
Okay.
I was very good in school. I graduated very early. I graduated at 16 years old. I graduated college at 19. I just figured it out.
So it all came easily to you.
I don't know if it came easily. I had to put my mind to it.
Okay.
It's like a script. You have to work on a script. You have to make the character come alive. And the student that was there in me, I had to work to make her come alive. I'll never forget 7th grade, walking into Lawrence Road Junior High. You would walk in and they had this roll. It was the honor roll. And I remember walking by that and I said, my name is going to be up there. I'm going to be on the honor roll. Probably about the freshman year of 8th grade, my name was up there.
There you go.
I worked at it.
Okay, so when you decided you were going to college, where did you go?
I graduated from Rutgers University, yes, on the banks of the old Raritan, cheering on the Scarlet Knights, home of the graduate, the great Paul Robeson.
God, you love your school.
I do.
You do. Do you watch the football games and do all
I
the
love
things?
everything about all of that, and especially the women's basketball team and the coach that we had and what she has gone on to do and what she has created for women in sports and basketball. I'm very proud.
So you're in Rutgers and you are studying something. What did you choose? What was your...
I was an English lit major, English. So it was a lot of reading, a lot of writing. But before I got there, there was, when you had the first class and they gave me a big old hair and your HARE, and we were going to cut it open.
Ooh.
And it was then it was very presentational. You're scalping and
like dissecting.
In this
in
blue
a science
velvet
class.
box.
Ew.
And I was like, I am not cutting up the Easter Bunny, not doing it. Not. And I walked out of that class and I immediately knew that if I'm not going to be a doctor, I had to be a lawyer. So I immediately signed up. And don't ask me how I got into constitutional law, but I was recently told that I'm probably one of the only students that walked out on Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
She was your professor?
As a professor, yeah.
Stop it.
But I couldn't take it. I couldn't. My God. She was talking and I was just like, oh, no, I can't. And then I left. I walked out.
Wow.
And I got lost on the Douglas campus on a dead-end street with a theater at the end of the street. And I walked in, and there was Dr. John Bettenbender. And I had a song, I had a monologue, and I walked in as a freshman, and I got cast in the play. And that started everything.
Did
Tambourines to Glory,
did it,
Langston Hughes.
Did it feel like coming home?
Oh, it was where I should be. Absolutely where I should be.
So tell me about the conversation with your parents when you were saying bye-bye to Ruth Bader Ginsburg and law school and everything.
You know what? It was probably one of the worst conversations I ever had with my mother in my life. She was so angry. She just could not believe you're going to be an actress with all of those fake and phony people. You know how hard we work for this money. Nobody not giving you no free money, you know. This is blood, sweat, and tears money. And I'm like, oh my God. But, you know, my father said to me, he said, you know, you came into this world with your mother, but you'll probably leave all by yourself, so you better be happy with the life you lead. So if you want to act, you want to sing, you better make a good choice for you. And that's what I did. And it was the right choice.
It fit.
It
fit, obviously. It fit. Now, so what was your first big role?
My first big role, you know, it really was Piece of the Action with Sidney Poitier. I had done 2 tours of duty with the Department of Defense, GS-12. I had rank and everything. And the second leg, I got off of the plane because we had to make a connection either in San Francisco or L.A. I chose L.A. because I was plotting that I knew I had to be in L.A. and I got off the plane.
Wait, will you describe, what do you mean you were on a tour with the Department of Defense?
So I was literally singing for the Department of Defense. They had put an act together for the Penthouse Pet of the Year. I was not a Penthouse Pet, but they needed a show. So I was the singer of the show. So I was basically the bodyguard. And I wanted them to know I was not, you know, one of the girls. And I had on long pants, a vest, a long sleeve shirt, a jacket, and a hat.
You were like, I am not that.
I am not that.
Got it.
No, but I remember her to this day.
Yeah.
I remember her to this day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You wanted to sing anywhere.
I wanted to sing. I wanted to perform. I wanted to do what I believed I was supposed to do. Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
Come on.
Yes, that's how I started.
Okay, so you go to LA, that's scary. Sorry. You know, it's like you don't have connections, you don't know people,
Nothing.
You're just
I have
plopped.
$3,000 in my bag. And I get off the plane and I call my father and I say, Daddy, do we have any family in Los Angeles? And he said, why do you need family in Los Angeles? And I said, because I'm in L.A. They used to have phone booths at the airport. And I was standing in one of those booths and I was watching at LAX, which looks very much the same to this day without the phone booths. And I was watching what I knew was my life. I knew I was going to get into one of those cabs and I was going to be somebody. And I checked my service because you used to have this thing called a service, your phone number, and people would call that number. And my teacher, my acting teacher from the Negro Ensemble Company, because I had been training there, and he had all these phone calls. Where are you? Answer the call. And I called him and he said, where are you? Yeah. And I said, I'm in Los Angeles. He said, no, you're not. I said, I'm in L.A. And he said, you need to be at Warner Brothers tomorrow morning. Because he wanted me to know that I'd missed my big break.
Oh, my God. So what happened at Warner Brothers?
I get there to Warner Brothers and I meet Sidney Poitier.
Okay.
And Mr. Sidney Poitier lets me do my monologue from the Miss Black Teenager America pageant. And I do my monologue and he says, all right. Screen test. And I'm like, whoa, screen test. I go back in a week and I'm in a room and it's Pamela Poitier, a great young actress by the name of Tamu. At the time, she had just done a film called Claudine with James Earl Jones and Diane Carroll and me. Well, Pamela Poitier, that's his daughter. Tammuz got reviews. And then there's me. I said, you know what? All I can do is give it my best. That's what I did. Got on a plane, went back to Jamaica. I get a phone call about 3 weeks later from Mr. Poitier, said, get back on the plane. You're coming to Los Angeles.
Yes.
That was it.
Yes. That's so thrilling.
What was even more thrilling for me was the very first episode of Abbott Elementary. We shot on Warner Brothers right in front of those steps that I walked up as a 19-year-old getting ready to make her first movie on the Warner Brothers lot. And here I am after all those years.
Emmy winner right there.
Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
A lot of people know you from Dreamgirls, obviously.
Yes.
That Broadway is one of the most taxing jobs in the world.
Yes, so taxing. I remember it well. Oh my God, my feet hurt right now thinking about it.
Playing that role, how did that change your life?
It changed everything for me because, first of all, what happened was there were so many little 9 and 10-year-old girls, little black girls in the audience, their first musical. They look up on stage and they're looking at me and Loretta and Debbie, and they're like, they've never seen anything like this, you know. And from so many of them, we were a living, breathing Barbie doll for them. And to hear them even talk to me now that they're grown and they want to tell me, because it's coming up next year is 45 years since the opening night of Dreamgirls, which is like, wow, since I'm only 40 myself. But, you know, I think about that and it's like that was life-changing for a generation or two. And the way gay men who saw the show talked about whatever they felt watching the show. I mean, it was revelatory for so many people to see this show and talk about dreams and what it takes to fight for yourself within your dreams, especially when everybody's telling you it's not you, it can't happen to you. I'm your dream girl. Dreamgirls will never leave you. All you've got to do is dream, baby. I'll be there. And I live by that to this day.
Could cry. You said people said it can't be you in these roles. It can't be you. How many times did you hear that throughout your career?
So many times. And, you know, I think of when I saw Hadestown the other night. Great musical, by the way. Great music, great performances. And I looked at that and I said, look at that diverse cast. Look at everybody working together. Everybody's just cast being the best people for the roles. You know, once we left Dreamgirls, where were we going? What was next for us? I was fortunate. There was a casting director at CBS called Tim Flack. Tim Flack was friends with my agent, Michael Schlesinger. Tim called Michael and he said, if she comes here, she's going to get this role. And it was for a series at the time called V. Now, I'm an onstage Barbie doll, full-on glam girl. Why he thought I should be a double-gunned barreled warrior fighting these amphibian underground dragonflies. I don't know what they were, but the underground world, why he thought that was me, I don't know. But guess what? I went out there, I got the role, and I never came back.
You never came back.
That was it.
Throughout your career, I don't remember who told you, maybe it was De Niro or somebody who said, you're a great actress, but too bad there aren't roles for you.
That was Robert De Niro. He looked me right in my face.
Yeah.
And first of all, he started by saying, damn good actress.
Yeah.
He said, whoa. And then he was not very effusive, but he was like, wow. And then he looked at me and he said, it's too bad, because Hollywood is not looking for the black girl. So you better climb that mountain, wave that red flag, and let them know that you're there. And that never left me. First of all, I never got over damn good actress. Thank you, Robert De Niro. Thank you very much. And then I'm having Mr. Poitier before that telling me, he's sorry that the industry didn't have anything to offer me after my film debut, you know? But you go on, you move forward, you keep trying, you keep climbing, you keep believing in you. I didn't give up on me. Yeah, that wouldn't happen until a few years later. I didn't give up, but oh my God, it was hard.
Were there any times where, even for a fleeting moment or maybe weeks, that you said to yourself, like, this mountain's too big to climb? I mean, I'm trying and I keep hitting a drought.
I had gotten divorced, which is taxing on your bank account. I was out of work for like 18 months, which is very taxing on life when you've got 2 kids and you're literally carrying everything. And I remember sitting in bed one day and I was shaking because I said, I cannot lose my house. I cannot take my kids out of school. I've got to give up the Mercedes. And I remember I got a Prius. I'm serious. I got a Prius. I had to literally stop shopping. I remember it wasn't name brand sneakers, it was Payless. And I had to do all of that stuff. And I remember I had to go to the bank and I had to take money out against my house. And it was
Against
hard.
your house. Yeah.
And something happened maybe a few months. It was a few months later, like maybe 3 or 4 months later, I got a job. I don't remember what it was, but it was enough money. Money came in.
Money came.
And then soon after that, I met the manager that I have to this day. My manager said, you have been overlooked and underpaid, and it stops now. I remember that. And this was like 12, 13 years ago. And she said, this is the number. And she wrote it down on a piece of paper. And I'm kind of giving up on this dream, this moment, because I'm at a space now where I'm like, okay, if Dreamgirls, Moesha, any actress that had these things in their life, great career. It's okay.
Right.
10 years, 20 years, whatever happened to, it'll be fine. Resurgence maybe would have been good. But she believed in me, which fortified me again to believe in myself. And 10 years to the time, I was way beyond the number that she had said. Yeah.
You know what's funny about how you see life, and it's beautiful, but when Robert De Niro said to you, you're a great actress, but too bad there aren't, most people would have remembered the back half of that comment. They might not even have remembered damn good actress. They might have remembered, too bad there's nothing. Not for you. That you seem like your gaze is always on
the good.
The good, always.
Always on the good. Why not always on the good? You know, it's like people can say all these wonderful things about you. One person says one negative thing, and that's what you want to talk about. I'm like, immediately in my mind, oh my God, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Or they just don't see it yet.
Yeah.
You know, and that's okay.
That's okay.
Because you're not always for everybody.
Yes. Now, I worked at NBC for many years, and there are times in your career where people are like, okay, you did great, in your career, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like I found all the good stuff in my career in my 50s and 60s.
Yes.
Everything good that happened. I adopted my kids in my 50s. I got my dream job in my 50s. Everything, like weirdly, things happen.
Not weirdly, things happen the way they were supposed to happen to you. Because as my mother would say, what is for you can be unfor you. Meaning, if it's yours, it's yours. It's nobody else's.
It's nobody else's.
And you are going to get it. If you have laid the foundation, you have done the work, why shouldn't you walk on the road? Be the one to take the steps to get where it is you know you want to go. That's it. It's like sometimes with my children, I want to say, look, you all, I have built this road. Do not go 100 feet forward and turn to the left because you will drop in a pit. And I do not want to have to come there and pull you out of the pit. Yeah,
did your mom get to see all of your successes?
My mother got to see quite a bit of my success. Okay, I'll tell you this. In October the 8th, it'll be 8 years. I was going back and forth to Jamaica from LA. And I had a great producer, Aaron Kaplan. I was doing a series called Fam. And my mother was sick. And I was coming back, and I told my mother, do not die, because I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Do not die. I left Jamaica, and just as I was literally like in the movies, stepping onto the plane, my daughter calls me and tells me that my mother has passed away. And I'm doing like this, and I'm thinking, my God, what do I do? Do I go to work? Do I go back? What do I do? Yeah. And it was as if my mother said, Sheryl, get on the plane, make the money, and come back and bury me the way you know you should. That's what I heard. I got on the plane. I went to work. Aaron Kaplan looked at me and he said, do the show, leave. He said, the only thing you need to do is come back, do the show, and go back. And that's was
what
it.
You did. What did you lose the day your mom passed?
Everything. Do you know, losing my mother, losing my father, do you know I grieve for my parents to this day? To this day I miss my parents. To this day I want to talk to my parents. My mother, her design, the Kariba, is front and center in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I always tell people, maybe I wasn't invited to the ball, but my mom is front and center in the exhibit. And I look at that and I'm like, Mommy, I wish she could have seen this. You know, my daughter is my stylist, and she put all of that together and made it happen, you know, a revolutionary moment in clothing for men. And I think about my mom, and I wish I could call her. I wish she could see it. My dad, you know, I wish my dad could see Abbott Elementary. Oh, my God, he'd just be so thrilled. But I honestly feel, you know, I lost my parents, but then all of these incredible things have just been happening. I said, if anything, my parents have been orchestrating from heaven. Yes.
They have been.
Yeah.
By the way, when you, and I want to talk about Abbott Elementary because that was such a game changer.
Yes.
And the speech that you gave is one that I would imagine anyone who's feeling a little down or in a funk could click on that, and it would be a game changer. It is for me. I told you I'm a commencement speaker watcher. I love, whenever I feel terrible, I'm like, someone worked really hard on a graduation speech. Let me see what they have to offer, what kind of hope they have to offer the world. And when I watched your speech again and again, and when you sang and you spoke and we wept with you, and it was like we all won. It was like one of those rare moments that we felt that. But I remember your kids more than anything. I remember them. They cried and cheered the way we as parents would cry and cheer when our kid wins something.
My kids, you know, I was on a plane once when they were young, and Cicely Tyson looked at me and she said, Sheryl Lee Ralph, you're going to do many great things in life, but these right here, these will be your greatest achievement. And she was right. They have been my greatest achievement. I say this all the time. When I leave this world, I know that I'll leave two wonderful people to take my place and say my name. And I believe it. I believe it. And when I hear them speak, I can hear myself. And it's just like, wow, this is something else.
Wow. How do you attribute the fact that you've raised such incredible kids? Like, what did you do as a parent?
I had great parents.
Yeah.
I'm able to show them the kind of love that was shown to me. I'm able to show them the unconditional love, the boundless joy, the fortitude that it takes to carry on in life, that life is all about choices, and you are intimately involved in every choice you make in life.
That's important.
Very important.
Because sometimes people feel victim-y, like it just kind of happened to me.
No, it didn't.
It didn't.
It did not. Even if you don't remember it, you took some steps towards where you are. Like I said, you lay the foundation for where it is you want to go.
Right.
And these detours are not made blindly.
Oh.
You know when you go left.
Yeah, baby. It may be a baby step, but you veered.
Exactly.
But you veered that way. Abbott Elementary is, come on, I mean,
Gold mine.
a gold mine.
Lightning in a bottle.
Tell me.
There is something to, I believe, as an artist, as an actor, when I get a script, when the role is right, they literally come up off the page and go into me. When I read Etienne Toussaint Bouvier on Designing Women, Etienne Toussaint Bouvier, my name is Etienne and I'm a showgirl. That just came to me like that, you know? When I was doing Dreamgirls, Mama, I want to be an actress. I want to be important in the world. That came right up off the page. Plus, I had a lot to do with creating the actual role of the show. You know, I was working with a young actress just last week, and the character, you know, she's a kind of mother that she doesn't have much to give you, and you know, she's going to hug you, but she can only lean in once she realizes that if she doesn't lean forward, you're going to knock her down. You know, very, you know, she just came right up off the, and they speak differently. You know, they move differently, and it's just the way it is. Abbott Elementary, when I read Barbara Howard, I was like, oh my God, I know this woman. Auntie Carolyn, Miss Hunt, all of these teachers, all my life surrounded by these educators showing me this is what excellence looks like. You know, the mantra to take in for that character.
Yeah.
We're not just teachers, we're social workers. We do so much more because that's what's necessary and demanded of us. And one day when we finished, Tyler looked at me and I looked at him and he said, "You feel it, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah, big hit, big hit." We all left and I was in Canada doing Motherland Fort Salem, playing the President of the United States, loving it. And I get a phone call. It says, "Abbott has been picked up." I said, "Who are you telling?" Confirmation. I knew it. I knew it.
You knew it.
Yeah.
Did you know it on that Emmy night?
Oh, hell no. Oh, I was as shocked as everybody in the room. I was like, whoa, 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 back up, play the tape again. That happened in life. Did they say Sheryl Lee Ralph? I was like, it's like not a mistake, but did I hear it correctly? And I was so frozen, I couldn't get up. I couldn't get my brain to tell my feet
to go
stand, move forward. If I hadn't heard Quinta scream, "Sheryl, it's you!" and that sort of broke it for me. And then Tyler had my arm taking me up the side to the steps, and I was like, oh my God. But Tyler has said many things to me.
Yeah.
Tyler said to me that I was going to win an Emmy.
He
said
did?
to me. He also said to me that year, he said, "And you're going to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and I'm going to be right there to see it." And it all happened. I said, wow, he's becoming like my mother. He's just telling me what's going to happen in the future.
So standing up there again in that moment, you looked around. It was like your brain was clicking, but was it out of body?
It was totally out of body.
Yeah, yeah.
And because I'm about ready to break down.
Yeah.
I'm about ready to cry
Yeah.
because now I'm remembering the journey. You know, when they say you've come up the rough side of the mountain, you know, and I don't think I'm at the top, but I'm at a nice little ledge or a plateau, and I'm looking at it. Now I'm afraid. And no matter how far you get up there, the wind is just going around you. And I'm like, oh my God, I was so believing it wasn't me. I've got nothing to say. So I had to calm myself. And it was like I heard my father simply say to me, "Sing and tell your story." And I'm center stage. My home is center stage. What do? You sing. And I had sung that song. I'd written a one-woman show called Sometimes I Cry, and that's the first thing I do is sing that song. And I sang it. And the whole audience just went up. And then I said, now tell them what you needed to hear, what they needed to hear. Don't you give up on you. If you have ever felt that your dream wouldn't or couldn't come true, I'm here to tell you this is what believing looks like. Because I'm here. And if I'm here, you can be here. But you can't give up. You gotta believe. You gotta believe. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I'm hearing it all over again.
Gotta believe. I was a little girl, and there was a Twilight Zone, and there was a fighter, and this fighter he was a good fighter, and he was in the community, and when his name was Bodie, and when Bodie would walk through the community, everybody would look up, but he was a loser, because he felt like a loser. And this little boy believed in Bodie, and he looked up to Bodie, and he said, Bodie, you got to believe, Bodie, you got to believe. And Bodie left, went down the stairs, and nobody paid him any attention. He got there in the game, in the ring. And the little boy put his face up to the screen, and he said, Bodie, you got to believe, Bodie. And Bodie was the winner. Bodie won the fight. Bodie couldn't believe he won the fight. And Bodie said to himself that he was a loser. And Bodie became a loser because he believed he was a loser. And when he came home, the little boy just took his hand and he said, Bodie, you got to believe. And that's what I wanted people to know. You have got to believe. People sometimes believe that what can one person do? One person can do so much. It's the truth. I've seen one person make a difference. My father was one person. To this day, his students still hit me up, say what Dr. Ralph did.
Wow.
To this day, men will hit me up about my mother's kariba, how they felt wearing that, that's one person, you know? One person. I've seen one child say they need books. I've seen one child gather books and create their own library. I've seen this. I've seen the doctor that said, you need care, and I'm going to get it for you because you deserve it, because you are worthy. I've seen that. I've seen what one person can do to tear down the whole spirit of a nation. One person can do that. One person can come along and raise up the spirit of a nation. But you got to believe, and you got to know you are worthy.
How many people have come up to you and said you're the one person? Can you think of any instances?
I was just recently, we were going, the whole cast, we all went out together, and the woman operating the elevator, she saw me get on and she exhaled. She said, Sheryl Lee Ralph. And I love it when people call my name like that. They're like, Sheryl Lee Ralph. Okay. She said, oh my God, you helped me. She said, I've been down, but you said this. She said, I saw you 2 years ago. She brings me up on her phone.
What was it?
I'm speaking, I think it was the Critics' Choice Award when I said, people don't have to love you. People don't have to they don't even have to respect you. But when you look in the mirror, you better love what you see. You better love what you see. She said, that's me. I'm loving what I see. I was in Abu Dhabi, and this woman brought me up on her phone in her Arabic language. I was in Ghana. They had a whole library, and their preacher was talking about the Sheryl Lees. And I was like, Lord have mercy. I have seen some things in my life speaking. On social media, people are always saying, I need to hear more of these things you say.
Yes.
I need them. And I'm like, wow.
Wow is right. One person changing the world. Wellness is important.
Wellness has always been important to me. With my Diva Foundation,
Yeah.
divinely inspired, victoriously alive,
Yes.
celebrating 35 years of raising health awareness this year, November 1st.
For reals?
Yes.
I didn't know it was that many years. Wow.
Yeah, it's that many years, and I founded the foundation 3 years before that. But to me, it's just incredible that now my children have their own space called the Walk Good Yard in LA,
Yeah.
where they are creating wellness out of the riots when the uprisings were going on after Ahmaud Arbery was killed for simply being a young black man running. So their space is there: yoga, breathing, sound baths, paying attention to your mental wellness. And that's why at this time in my life, I am so thrilled and happy to be able to partner with GSK on the Thrive at 50 Plus project.
Tell me about that.
Well, it's to let folks know that if you are over 50,
Woohoo!
yes, what a wonderful time in life. The confidence that comes
Yes.
with that.
Yeah.
If you are over 50, you've probably had chicken pox. If you've had chicken pox, you now have the virus that puts you at risk for shingles. 1 million people every year in America.
Have that, yes.
1 million.
And it's
one
painful.
in 3 in their lifetime
Yeah.
will come down with shingles. And I want people to know, talk to your doctor, talk to your pharmacist, get the information that you can put yourself first. After 50, you don't just have to be alive. You should be thriving.
Yeah.
You've got all of this life behind you and so much more to look forward to. Do it in a healthy way, because trust me, shingles is a blistering rash that you do not want. I tell people all the time, I'm going to the Emmys, honey. I do not have time for shingles. I'm going to be thriving out there in my beautiful gown. And whatever part of me is exposed, we don't need that. Thank you.
So let's pretend, Sheryl Lee Ralph, you have a day that's all just for you. This whole podcast is called Making Space because it's about what you do when you have room.
Yes.
So let's pretend from the moment you opened your eyes to the moment you close them at the end of the day, you have a blank slate and you can do anything you want. It can be filled with what fills your cup.
Yes.
No obligations. How would you fill your day?
I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. Because you see, I do, like you said, a lot. On the day where I have nothing to do, I'm doing nothing. I am probably not getting out of my bed. I'm going to stay right there. I might call up my son or my daughter and say, I am in bed. Please bring me some food. That might be it. That might be it. What am I supposed to do? It's a nothing day. Do nothing.
Perfect.
I'm telling you, people want to get up, run around, do this, do that. No, I'm doing nothing. I'm pulling up on a good book, a book that I can actually open and feel the paper.
Yes.
I might sit there and read that. I might turn on an old black and white movie.
Yeah.
Why black and white? Because it makes me imagine, what color is that gown really? Yeah. Look at the sparkle of that fabric.
Yeah.
I'm doing nothing. I'm thinking about a good, easy time.
I love it.
I'm not even thinking about food because I'm not getting up to make it. I'm not thinking about coffee because I'm not getting up to make it. I'm not thinking about getting dressed because I'm not exerting that energy. No. I'm doing nothing.
By the way, that's my favorite answer to that question. Love you, Sheryl Lee Ralph.
I love
Thank
you more, Hoda.
You're so inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank God you're on the planet.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.